War Eagle, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together and we're talking about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. Always heavy on the sports here on this YouTube channel and on our podcast network. But in general, if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. We do appreciate you even giving just a few minutes of your time just to hang out with us and just talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. As you do come into the live stream, if you are watching live, we do ask that you give us a little War Eagle hello and post where you're watching from. The tradition always when we start a live stream, already got some people doing that in the chat window right now. And we'll say hello to a lot of you as the show goes on. On today's episode or this live stream, the main gist of it is we are just going to be talking about anything and everything that you'd like to talk about in the Auburn sports, Auburn fandom realm. We can talk a lot about SEC media days. You know, there's Texas and Oklahoma thinking they want some of the SEC. The Olympics are coming up and a lot of other things going on. So there's a lot on the table that you could choose to talk about. Honestly, it doesn't even have to be that Auburn related if you want to. And there are ways that you can call into the show and participate. And we'll go over that in just a second, how that works and how you should, take part in that if you choose to do so. As you do come in as well, please make sure you smash that like button. It does help the stream out, show people that we're live and hanging out with us. And we'd love to see you all here. And then check out some of the links in the description for all of the ways that you can help support the content here. I do want to remind myself here and remind you now that a few minutes into the show, I'll address these things, but I got three major things that I want to address for the network in a good way that I don't want to forget. So if I get like 30 minutes in the show and I've forgotten about it, some of y'all in the chat, please do remind me, and then we'll stop and address this because they are important. Some of them you'll already see kind of in the pinned up at the top and things like that, but I want to make sure that we cover all of those before we get done because they are important for the network stuff. Anyway, let's say who's here in the chat. We've got Spooky Buffalo from Jefferson, Iowa, throwing down from Iowa. Michael Trott, War Eagle team, man. Thanks for being here. Of course, my man Neil White from East Cobb, as usual, not too far from myself. Corey Benson's here. Good to see all of you all here today. Did you see that Bammer QB is already making $100K? Correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, but it was actually he was pushing seven figures, was it? Or did I see that wrong? It could have been me seeing that wrong, but if it wasn't seven figures, then if it was six figures, that's still a lot of money. Are you surprised? We all knew this was going to happen. I'm not mad at the athletes in any way. I'm not mad at anybody. You know, obviously, I think I've got some opinions, as many other people do, about how this might change college athletics in maybe some good ways, but not so good ways as well. But the fact that, a player already has got $100K coming into him, that's just it's a drop in the pond about what's going to be happening here very, very quickly here as we go on. Good crowd assembling already. Spooky says, love the quick vid you did about ranking the home games for the season. Had just bought your Akron tickets. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I'm planning on doing a away game one as well, so I hope you'll check that one out too. If you aren't aware of what he's referencing, I did a little video 2 days ago. You can find it on the YouTube channel here. Go check that out. Love to hear your perspectives on that. We can talk about it some here. Just the topic of if you had to rank the home games that Auburn football has on their schedule for 2021, which would be the best ones. I think you might be surprised at what some of my reasonings were for where I put some people in that. But when I sat down and thought about it, I was like, hey, this makes a lot of sense. Catching up in chat here. Unbeaten Lake. I think the SEC is going to need a new name because it's definitely about to grow out of the Southeast. Well, traditionally, yes, Texas is not the Southeast. They are their own thing. Technically, Florida is not even the Southeast. I mean, they are by region, but culturally, they're a lot different. The Panhandle really is kind of what ties Florida to the Southeast. But really, yeah, I mean, we could go back to the old Southern Conference. We could just start going back that if that entices everybody for that type of name. John, good to see you, my man. John is a member of the Booster Club. You can find links for that in the description. $1 a month is all it takes to sign up for that. and you can help support the content that we do here and on our podcast network. Jay Fair committed today, or yesterday actually is what it was, I believe. Maybe he signed today, but he committed yesterday. Yeah, it's a 3-star commit out of Texas. Nice to see Coach Harsin going out there and getting some talent from some different areas. He's done that by going up into the Midwest. Now he's reached out his arm into the West. Maybe an important reason why bringing Oklahoma and Texas into the SEC might be a good thing for Auburn. I may or may not be working on a video for you guys on that might come out tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Depends on how productive I am tonight. All right. I want to address everybody else's comments because you guys are a great crowd and already assembling really well here. But I do want to encourage you, if you haven't, please do consider calling into the show. It does help, me out by giving me a break. But I do enjoy talking to you all. And I love hearing your perspectives. So if you want to call in, it is listed at the top of the chat window. It's not the pinned one, but you got to go all the way to the top. And I'm going to go ahead and, if I could find it here, go ahead and put it in for you one more time right now if you want to call in. It's really easy. All you got to do is type in the link or click the link. You can do video or non-video. Just do audio if you want to do that. And we'll talk to you and hang out for a little bit. So don't be shy. It's there if you want it. Russell, good to see you, man. Thanks for being such a great champion of this YouTube channel. Really appreciate all your efforts and your support. Glad you're at least listening if you're having to work while you're doing that. It's good money for 6 to 7. It's good money for someone who hasn't taken a snap in college football. It was def change. It will def change college football. Not sure in a good way. All right, quick poll of the room. Yes or no, were you in favor of the NIL, allowances? Is that's what you want to call it? Not allowances, but agreement. If I think the prevailing thought process is going to be no. I do think, unfortunately, we were operating at a time where there's something had to change for the athletes because there were a lot of issues that, they were having a lot of money made off of them, but not by them or, things like that. I am still firmly on the side that they were getting a college education. That should be payment enough. But I also recognize the other side of the argument, and I can say that then, maybe there's some compromise. I don't know that this is necessarily the compromise that needed to happen, but maybe. I mean, it's done now, so we can't really, worry too much about that at this point. Texas and Oklahoma are winning the SEC. Please make it stop. Clearly, Neil's not. Hey, Neil, would you trade them for Vanderbilt? How about that? I think we can get you to agree with that. Yeah, him not even playing a game and getting an endorsement deal is pretty crazy, but it shows you kind of what they're working with over there. Florida is not a part of the South, and I said, yep. Bama kickers could get an endorsement from the Schaefer Eye Care. Oh man. I don't know that any eye care is going to help the Alabama kicker situation out. So anytime that you're feeling bad about, Auburn's football situation compared to someone else, especially Alabama, just remember, you always could have Alabama special teams problems. We don't. It's, it's one of the things that we do well. Let's see here. Great for our QBs. I think Rise Life's talking about the wide receiver. Yes, that is very, very true. I got to give a shout out to my man, Felix, first of all. Let me go ahead and address this. And this is, I think, one of the things that I was wanting to say that I was telling you guys, don't let me forget. First of all, shout out to Felix because he's a member of the Booster Club. Thank you again. My friend. Appreciate that. You and John are in here tonight. Felix is also now a YouTube supporter. You can see that he's got, I think, a little icon next to him, and he now has in his possession little emojis and little logos and stuff like that. They're supposed to be orange and blue toilet paper rolls for Tumor's Corner. But all it takes is 99 cents, and you can help support here. It is not replacing the Booster Club. It is simply something that we're giving a try here. If for those of you that want to just stay here, do it, not go somewhere else. But that option is there. But shout out to you, my man, Felix. You didn't have to do that, and you are a champion for doing that, sir. Way behind here. Kyle, you got to catch up. Let's see. Recruitment's been insanely great. I wouldn't call it insanely great. More active, yes. I preach here and did not get so focused on the 4 stars. And that's kind of seems a little oxymoronic when I'm saying that. And we've just been pulling a bunch of 3 stars mainly. What I would love to see is 3-4 years from now, these 3 stars, what do they become? Tommy Tuberville was known for taking, the forgotten ones, the people that, had the 3 and the 2 stars and turning them to 4 and 5 stars. Um, Stars don't really matter. It matters what they do when they get on the field. Case in point, Deshaun Davis is the perfect example of that. Overlooked. He did have an injury in his senior year. Only was like a 3-star coming out, but he was an SEC leading tackler, SEC leading linebacker, and arguably one of the best linebackers in the nation by the time he got out of here. So stars don't matter, but I wouldn't, in my opinion, great, amount of recruits coming in doesn't necessarily mean great. I'm not knocking any of our picks. I'm glad that we're filling in some of these areas. I think most of you agree with me, though, that you would like to see a little bit more offensive line recruitment, just a little bit more. Scotty, have we seen you here before? If we have, I apologize. I try to keep track of most of the people that are here. If we haven't seen your live stream before, I apologize. If you have been here, I apologize and just forgotten your name. Are they going full capacity at Jordan Hare this year? Haven't seen nothing about it. Well, I don't know how you missed that. That was a huge announcement. We even did a little video about it. Yes, they are 100% capacity. Now, listen, folks. I'm going to try to keep this as like down the middle as possible on these type of topic here. But I think most of you that know me kind of know where I stand on a lot of this stuff. The COVID-19 cases are starting to rise a little bit again, and variants and all that kind of stuff. So just be patient with them. You never know what's going to have to change and stuff like that. But as of this moment, they're planning full capacity. And personally, if we had gotten 50% capacity, that was a win for me because that's 30% more than we got last year. So there you go. All right. I'm just now getting to everybody's responses on the NIL. I know I'm way behind in chat. That's just kind of the name of the game here. Most of you said no. Yeah. I kind of felt that was going to be the case here. Most of you didn't like that. Bama kickers need an endorsement from Orthofeet. Ugh. Negative note. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Lee, what's going on, man? I said, I like it, but I think the payment should be even across the board. Backup kicker make the same as a starting quarterback. Yeah. The entrepreneur in me hates that idea. The fairness person in me is okay with that idea. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that aspect there, Lee. I mean, it's not a bad idea. I just, if they're going to let them make money, let them make money the way they have the ability to. And unfortunately, some of them, all they have to do is just show up. The Bama quarterback, all he had to do is show up, not even play a snap, and he's already got $100,000 apparently. Brandon says it's gotten out of control a little bit already. So what do you mean out of control? Give me a little bit of clarification on that. And again, listen, if anybody wants to call in, again, here, I'll continuously put the link in here just to remind you guys. Please do if you want to, and share your thoughts on any and all of this. Neil says he would not trade Vandy. I would not trade them for Vandy. I'd take GT over Vandy. That's not a bad trade, though. One smart school for another. Thomas from Leeds is checking in here. Good to see you, my man. Thanks for being here. Think these players get endorsements right away without playing a snap. Will be shocked when they fail to perform and get those deals yanked out from underneath them. Well, I mean, that's the kind of the name of the game, right? You can sign these contracts, but if you don't fulfill them, then you don't get paid. So a little bit of a lesson in the real world. There's part of me that kind of likes that. Honestly, it really does. Lee says recruiting could get better. Friday, we have a 4-star running back deciding between us, Northwestern, LSU. Oh, that's an easy decision. Cristobal has us projected to get him. Yeah, we're going to need to start filling in that backfield a little bit. You got Tank and Sean. Sean will be gone after this year. Tank would be gone next year, eligibility-wise, to go to the NFL draft. So you're really going to need to go ahead and shore up that depth there for 2 years from now. Not to say that the guy can't come in and contribute here, but you got Jarquez, I think his name is. I'm forgetting another one as well. But we recently lost Devin Barrett, who's been the guy who's bounced back and forth between positions. So a little bit of depth at the position is needed. Do you think Bobo's kid's going to be a Tiger? The question is how highly sought after is Mike Bobo's son? I hate to say it this way, but a lot of times when you see a lot of these athletes with family ties to a program, usually that means if they go there, they didn't have a lot of offers elsewhere and they found a spot for him on the coach's team. That's not to say, he could be a great recruit and decide that he just wants to be here at Auburn. That's the best fit. And that's absolutely possible. But you kind of really see that tending to be the trend. Do I think, anybody's got a leg up? Surely we do, unless he wants to get away from his dad. I don't know. I know that was not really an answer, Corey, but obviously we have an advantage. And he's a quarterback, right? Am I right on that? I think I'm right. Neil, great question. How will taxes affect, let's put both in there, NIL scenario quarterback spreads the money around to other players, tax evasion? Ooh, that's a good point. You don't think that's happening already? You don't. If you don't think people are advising these kids to ways to avoid that, we're going to find out real quick how crazy this thing's going to get. Maybe not find out all the things that are probably going on behind the scenes. But yeah, this definitely, I think part of the trepidation with this is there was no real guidelines put with this. Like there were some, but not like this. This should have been a baby steps situation. I think the easiest thing would have been to say, you get, and I think, trying to remember what school it was. It was Michigan, I think, that they are paying the players for the names on the back of their jerseys the same amount, but if you sell more jerseys, you get more money. That is 100% fair. I think that the amount probably in that case could be the same across the board, but if you have the ability to sell more, do it. If you have to push your product more out there, who's to say that the kicker can't start some campaign in a rivalry against the starting quarterback and outsell his jerseys just because that's how people work on social media. That's just the stuff that happens. People want to latch on to something kind of wild and crazy. You could see it happening. Just because you're the quarterback doesn't mean that you'll sell more jerseys. Traditionally it does. But if you have the drive, the entrepreneurship behind it, you could sell more jerseys. So, personally, I think something small like that should start let's their name. Let's get these kids paid for their name. Across the board, every sport, they sell a jersey with their name on it. They get the same profit for it. If they sell more, obviously they'll get paid more. I think that would have been an easier thing to do and a more cohesive thing. Thomas, I don't care about the money you make. I care about what these young men do on the field. Well, and yes, Thomas, that's 100%. We all, I think, 99% of us feel the exact same way. And I think part of what you gotta remember is most of these kids are doing this to make money at some point. Most of them they're looking at going to the next level, looking at, getting an endorsement deal after this. So it is what it is at this point. And we can lament about it all we want, or we can find a way to make it work for us in the future. It's only going to get worse though. Out of control equals Bama quarterback making a ton of money without a snap. That's fair. I know you meant Cat Lee, but you corrected down there. Isn't Big Cat weekend this weekend? I believe so. And that would be part of the thing with the running back committee. I do think that's the case. You think Georgia's after Bobo's kid? Well, with Kirby Smart's relationship with Mike Bobo, I wouldn't be surprised at that. So Auburn and Georgia probably have the inroads to Mike Bobo's kid. But you got to think that Auburn probably has a little bit of a leg up, depending on their relationship. Talking about a 4-star offensive lineman that's coming until he commits. He's a 3-star. Wow. Let's see here. Birmingham Bowl for the SEC just got a little bit better with the new downtown protective stadium by the BJCC Entertainment Center Hotels and Top Golf. Yeah, that's a little area right now, isn't it? It's definitely, the Birmingham Bowl, obviously it pits the lowest of the SEC teams every year. It's not a bowl that you really want to see yourself get put into. But, for the overall bowl experience, for the fans, for the players otherwise, there's not a lot of, there's a lot worse places you go. You go to Boise, Idaho and play in the Idaho Potato Bowl. What are you going to do out there? Go pick a potato? See, look at the blue field. Listen, I know there's probably things. It's beautiful country up there. That's part of the appeal to it. But Birmingham's trying to make a case for itself. Spooky, what schools players are going to get hit with tax evasion first? Whoever doesn't have the best lawyers / bagmen / people with highly specialized skills. You can bet Alabama will not be getting in trouble for that anytime soon. Since when have they gotten in trouble for anything? Kevin, appreciate you calling in, man. From Daphne, we've got Daphne. I've seen Central, South, North Alabama. We've got Iowa calling in. We've got East Cobb, Georgia calling in. We got people from all over the Southeast. Hey, we are the Southeastern Conference. Forget Texas and Oklahoma. That's what we need tonight, is somebody to call in from there. All right. Let me pause on getting to all your questions, and you can keep them coming here. But I do want to we'll address a couple things with you guys that we've got going on. Honestly, if you do anything, like I know you guys probably get tired of me mentioning all this stuff, but this is completely free. But this is extremely valuable to me as a podcast network owner and a YouTube channel owner, all that kind of stuff. If you'll look at the very top of the chat window, and I'll put it in the description too for after the show, there is a link to a survey. It is got questions related to our podcast network. It's got some questions related to this YouTube channel. Even if you're only a one or the other person, it is extremely valuable. There's some questions that we'll ask. They're just trying to figure out what everybody's habits are and stuff like that. This is probably the most important thing that you could do for us every year. We are only at a quarter of our goal of responses thus far. And we try to get those within a week, and we're 3 days in. So if you haven't, after this show, please do click it. It takes less than 5 minutes. I have made it the simplest thing that you can do. That'll take you like 2 minutes, but everything else you can go click, 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 click. Please do that. Other thing I addressed a little bit earlier, we now have channel supporters. So if you want to do that, 99 cents is all it takes on there. You can, I think it's the join button you can find on the main page. I gave a shout out to Felix, who is a member of the Booster Club, but also a channel supporter here. It gets you access to emojis on here, and then you get like a little icon next to your name that'll grow as you stay a supporter for longer. And they're little Tumors Corner toilet papers, toilet paper rolls. So that's there if you want to take advantage of that. And then one of the things we commit to is obviously you'll take precedence on comments and questions and stuff, even if they're not live ones. On there, but our primary source is still the Booster Club over there. The other thing, and I do want to get some feedback on you guys. Obviously, SEC Media Days is tomorrow for Auburn. I'd like to do a live stream tomorrow. Here's the catch: I've got two small windows where I can do it. It'll be in the afternoon or the late evening. If you would like late afternoon, please put that in the chat window. If you'd like late evening, meaning 9 o'clock, post that as well, because I want to get together with you guys on a live stream and talk about what we found out at SEC Media Days and what everybody said. So I'd like to do that tomorrow. Just give me some feedback there in the chat about those. So those are the three things: channel supporters, the survey, that's the most important thing, and what time, when would you like that live stream tomorrow, barring unforeseen circumstances. All right, we're caught up on all that. Again, little reminder, if you want to call in, there's your link again. Great segue here, actually, Lee. What are y'all looking at tomorrow with our media days? Harson, Nix, and Papow, whatever you want to call it, are going. It's a little different not having a third one there. I was struggling myself to think who would be the third. Oh, Anders. How is Anders Carlson not the third person? This makes me very upset that he's not going. As a senior, as the guy who's kind of been part of a kicking legacy, how is he not going to be? Well, is he a senior or junior? I can't even remember now. But I think you should probably, if you've got a pretty good representative on your special teams, have one there as well. But obviously, Bo and Owen make a lot of sense there. You're probably going to get Coach Harsin getting a lot of questions about NIL, about vaccinations and things like that. You can guarantee those two things are coming. And then obviously you're going to get some questions about recruiting for him, I think. Let's see. Scotty says, I just think that paying players just opened it up for corruption. You don't think corruption was happening before? It's out in the open now. Listen, people are going to find ways to mess things up. And this is why we can't have nice things. It's just going to happen. It's our own nature. Casey's here, everybody. What's going on? The master of hyperbole, Casey from Birmingham. Yep, my house in central Iowa is a part of the Southeast. I argue that Indiana technically should be part of the Southeast, at least some of it culturally. Iowa could maybe make a case for that. Let's see here. Casey asks, are you going to the Mississippi State game with the announcement that Spirit's going to be retiring? I will more than likely be making a very strong effort to be there. Here's what I will tell you for my intentions, what I normally do during football season. Obviously, last year was different. There was really no reason to be on campus because you couldn't really do anything, which was such a pain because I missed that. I am on campus, barring scheduling issues, for every home game. And I will be doing stuff live, posting stuff throughout the day. And I try to go into 1 or 2 games. I'm not a media member yet. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten media passes to go in there yet. But what I typically do is watch the game in the student union and work if I don't have a ticket. So if you'd like to come in there and hang out with me and watch the game with me, stay out of the heat, I'll probably be in there. But yeah. Thank you, Russell, for being the great reminder of people here. By the way, Russell, I'll send you a message in one of the things that one of the comments, and we'll see if I might give you a little bit of special things here. I'll talk to you about it later. Let's see here. Late evening, everybody says. Late afternoon. I love my sleep. Evening. Got a lot of people voting for evening, it seems like. I'm kind of leaning towards late night, to be honest with you, because it'll be really a time crunch, and I'll have to be done. Like, for instance, I probably could start at between 5:30 and 5:45, and I'd have to be done by 6:30, like hard, and be out of there. And we could probably cover it in the amount of time, but I don't want to push it. So that's kind of what I'm leaning. But make sure you're subscribed, notification bell, because you'll see when I put it up online there. Only 2 players can go this year because of COVID. Duck, I should have known that. I'd buy a Carlson jersey too, because you think about if you get them both to sign it, it'd look really good on the wall to have both the Anders brothers doing that. I'm still upset we missed out Jalen Green because he couldn't compete with the G League at that time. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a business decision for some of these kids. We could always play the what if game, but what I take away from us missing out on some of these players in basketball, and not missing out like as in going, to other schools, but they made a decision between us and going pro. What does that tell you? That it's that hard of a decision? That tells you they know that they got a good deal coming to Auburn. That's a good thing here. We can certainly do that, Lee. Like I said, I will always be there. I'll be honest with you, and I think I've addressed this on some live streams. My heart's desire is to be in Auburn locally as a resident in the not too far distant future. There's no plans for that as of yet, but I'd love to be able to host a tailgate and stuff like that. And I know, hear me now, let me go ahead and say this up front. It'll always be a family-friendly tailgate. So for those of you that are looking to come party, that's not the place for you. But if you want to come just hang out and do Auburn stuff together, then we'll do stuff like that. But yes, Lee, I definitely want to kind of do some stuff like that in the future. Just a matter of time. How about, this is a good question. I think people bring it up. What games are you planning on going to the year that you're going to try to go to? Let's do home games. What do you think? Which home games do you think that you're going to try to go to? Let's see. I'm going to the Mississippi State game. Would love to hang out with you and talk about Auburn football. Cool. Yeah. I'd love to meet anybody. One of the coolest things when I started about doing a podcast, and it actually happened here in East Cobb. So here's a fun story for Neil. I go to a church locally up here, and I was playing in a basketball league one summer. Well, got in the middle of the game, and then someone got fouled, and we lined up at the free throw little lines and everything like that. And then this guy next to me just kind of leans over real close to me, and all this thing is, "Hey," he's on the opposite team. "Are you Kyle?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." I mean, did you just hear my teammates yelling my name? He's like, "Oh, I listen to your podcast every day." And I was like, "That is crazy." I always say that to say, because I really like enjoy hearing from people who, whether you're a YouTube person, a podcast person. So please, if you ever meet me out in the wild, please don't be shy. I love talking to people and meeting Auburn family members. Lee, without revealing where I live exactly, East Cobb, which is Cobb County, Georgia, a little bit north west. I had to think about it for a second. Atlanta. So that is my general vicinity. So I don't live too far away, but it's still quite a hike to do that there and back in a day. You usually have to go stay with a friend or drive into Montgomery to stay with family. Kevlar, I read that Bama should win the SEC in basketball. I was like, what? I thought they lost most of their talent. Well, it depends on who they're getting in, right? We can't deny that they had a great season and well-deserved on their part. I would not be so quick on the media members to, jump to too many conclusions about that, though, which they clearly have done that. Mike's going to be at Mississippi State. Just bought his tickets. Spooky's going to be in Akron, my first in 11 years. Oh, I remember you talking about this on another video. Yeah, that's going to be an awesome thing to be at. Look, I know a lot of time people not going to some of the smaller games. This one's an obvious one to go to. It's the first game of the season, the first one for Coach Harsin, first one back after. That's it. But I will tell you, there is a special quality to going to some of the what we'll call rinky-dink games. For instance, Alabama State this year is a good option. One, you're going to be entertained at halftime. They have a great band. So go to that alone. We know, Alabama State is coming to get beat. We all know that. We all understand that. They understand it, but they don't care. And their fans are loud and they're raucous and they have a great time. So that is a reason why I would say that you would want to consider going to the Alabama State game. Also, for those type of games too, you're there to have fun. There's no stress about whether you're really going to win or lose. So don't overlook those games. Columbus, Georgia, not too far, Lee. Not too far from Auburn. That's a pretty sweet deal right there. Another first game for a son this year. If you can't afford a big game, I think Mississippi State's going to be a big game with that being the final flight for Spirit. But yeah, I was going to say that if you wanted to kind of like a bigger game, but not maybe the highest ticket availability, I think honestly, your best option is probably Alabama State because you're going to pay hundreds of dollars for Alabama, probably for Georgia as well. Akron's probably sold out if it's not. Mississippi State's going to be sold out now. Ole Miss might be a good job, but that's going to be a good game, I think. Alabama State might be your best one. And I promise that you'll have a good time. Casey, always with the hyperbole. I still believe Auburn is the best team this season in men's basketball. Listen, I'm not going to take away that we have a highly talented team. I'm not going to make a bold statement and say we're the best team until I see us get on the court. A lot of turnover, a lot of figuring things out. Still a little bit worried about the point guard depth. That's personally why I can't, say something like that just yet. Don't you dare in the stream when I get here. All right, everybody, we're going home. Good night. Thanks for being here. No. Darius, I stay on as long as I can. I don't necessarily have to be anyone here, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just do it to spite you. I'm kidding. All right. Again, posting the link again. Please do not be shy. Call in. I want to hear your voices. Maybe see your faces. You don't have to have the video on. Links in the chat right now if you want to do that. Alabama State comes to win halftime. Alabama State always wins halftime. When it comes to like Auburn or, playing bigger teams, they always win halftime. That said and done. SEC basketball has come a long way. Kentucky used to be a no-brainer SEC pick. Yeah, and I think that's the great thing that we're benefiting from here. We're living in a time where Auburn and Kentucky is a big rivalry in basketball, and we're living in a time where Kentucky's now, like you said, you don't just write off, it's Kentucky that's going to win the SEC. It could be Auburn. It could be Tennessee. It could be Arkansas. It could be, for last year, Alabama, for crying out loud. But yeah, we are being very much blessed by a good time for SEC basketball. Lee says he's getting nervous for the Penn State game. I agree, and I think you should. This is going to be a very listen. I've said it till I'm blue in the face. Transitions always bring a few problems, always. Even the 2013 Gus Malzahn first year had its problems. Trick is they got them worked out. Will they get them worked out by Penn State? That remains to be seen. That's a tough place to go on the road in a whiteout game on what will be a nationally the game of the week, I believe. Probably going to be game day. That's a tough pill to swallow. Might go to the Ole Miss. That's not going to be a bad one to go to. Offensive firepower versus we'll really get a test of our defense there. Trying to catch up here. Feel like if we win Penn State and are improving week to week, 10 as possible, 10 wins. Yeah, listen, my record is still going to stand at 8-5 currently. And I'll probably do like a final video prediction show or something like that when we get like within a week. I got to cut these down. They're really, sorry guys. It's going to be a little bit darker. I just realized they're kind of giving me a headache a little bit. When we get a little bit closer, but 10 win, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I don't know that I would say beating Penn State gets us to that. Hear me when I say this. Penn State is going to be a very, very tough win for Auburn, but it's not going to be as tough as going on the road to win against LSU, going on the road against Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia at home. It's not going to be the benchmark, in my opinion, that we're going to have a successful season. It'll mean that we're further along than we all thought we might be. But I don't know that I haven't looked at Penn State enough to really say they are a very, very good team. But I know I've heard what it's like to play them on their home turf there. It's going to be tough. Let's see here. Scotty, with players being paid, how do you think they should be paid now? Do you think they should be forced to play in the bowl games instead of opting out? Well, you can't. You can't force players to do something they want. Now, that means they have consequences. If they were going to be like that, they could get kicked off the team and lose their scholarship. They don't play. They could be forced in the sense that their endorsement, their business that they're working with could require that. But no, I don't think anybody should be forced to do anything. But this might alleviate some of that. If you're making dropping 100K before you even play, you're going to probably be set before that time comes to make that decision, at least for a little while in life. So it might alleviate some of that on its own. No one else is transferring right now. I wanted Marcus Carr. Yeah, I think we're probably done with the transfer situations for basketball, if that's what you're talking about. McCaffrey, Fortinet opted out of the bowl games. Just the two that come to mind. Yes, that's true. They did. Uh, I'm not nervous. I believe we'll win all the games of the season in football. Casey, maybe that's why I have anger issues because I believe too much in Auburn winning everything. Listen, I have no problems with you being optimistic. In fact, I've been criticized often. I know a lot of you will find this hard to believe since you've been part of this YouTube channel, hearing me be more skeptical than anything. But it's called growth. I got called Sunshine Pumper, Pollyanna for ages, and I still do to some degree in certain circles. But I expect and I believe Auburn can win every game. But I also understand the reality that they're probably not going to, just by nature of them being Auburn alone. 48-10 over Penn State. Reverse that is more likely. Not going to be that, but more likely. Darius, I hate seeing fans give so much trash to players who opted out before the season started. Jamar Chase opted out because his family caught it, I think. I don't like it when anyone, especially on social media, and that's what I would assume you're referring to mainly here, says anything or post anything that they wouldn't say directly to that person's face. If you're not willing to say it to them with a straight face, don't write it. With that being said, I do think that a lot of people are, especially if we're talking about this particular situation, opting out with last season. I have no qualms with people doing what they think is best for them and their family, and they should. So there's no judgment there. But I also know that there is a lot of misinformation out there, and a lot of people focus on getting that information from very biased and incorrect sources and made decisions that probably affected them. I'm not saying that about Jamar Chase or anybody specifically. So again, this is at me again, Kyle being down the middle type of person. I see it from both sides. My preference is that no one would opt out, but if someone feels unsafe to be somewhere, that's their choice. Let them do what they feel, and if they miss out on opportunities because of it, so be it. But I want them to feel safe. Oh, let's see. How's everyone feeling about the defensive line? It's used to be the strength of our team. We haven't had the stud pass rusher in a few years. I'm intrigued by that because I got to believe that we had the depth and the talent built up behind it. We're just lacking a leader. You know, you had hoped that Big Cat would have stayed around. I know some people have some differences of opinions on how much they liked having him or not, but I did. We could have really used him this year. Really could have. Yes, but that's Casey's the king of hyperbole. That's why we call him that. I'm going to make a bold prediction. This year is Auburn gets LSU in Death Valley since the 90s. I agree. I'm starting to lean that way. It's what's making me want to up my prediction to a 9-4 for the year, but I still haven't made that quite yet. I'll just go ahead and admit I'll probably push my win total expectations to 9-4 by the time we get there, just because that I naturally get optimistic. I'm ready. I'm seeing things through orange and blue glasses, but I'm staying at 8-5 right now, so that when we get to that point when I have to make a final prediction, that I already haven't made a 9, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, screw it, I'm going to do 10. But that is a bold prediction, but it's possible. What a statement that would make for Harsin, though, going into Penn State and winning convincingly. Yes, that is, if Coach Harsin wants a statement to be made, that is where he makes it. I think you could say the same thing for winning down in LSU. For some reason, it doesn't feel the same way for me, though, even though I think LSU is going to be a tougher team, personally. I think his statement game could be Penn State. It's going to be a tough one, though. Better incentives by the bowls could help players want to play. I disagree a little bit, Kevlar, only because those decisions were being made not because they weren't getting things, but because they were scared they were going to hurt themselves for their future careers. You can't really compensate for that unless you're going to pay them $100,000 a piece, and that's not going to happen. Let's see here. Trying to keep up with it. Sorry, I'm gonna have to skip over a couple of comments here just to kind of keep up with everything. I'm assuming you've already talked about the UTOU thing. Darius, we have, but this is the show where we bounce around. So, don't be shy. We can talk about anything. So if you've got opinions about it, hop it right in there and we'll address it. I'm going to try to keep putting the call-in number in here for those of you that might want to do that. I remember when we were O-line you at one time, then Herb Hand showed up. You and I are 100% agreement there on Beaton Lake. Most of you know I am a Gus Malzahn super fan. I completely disagreed with the decision to fire him. And I think it will end up grand scheme of things be a stupid decision. That is not a reflection on Coach Harsin and what he might or might not do here. But I will go and tell you, as big of a proponent of Gus Malzahn I was, his worst mistake was hiring Herb Hand. And it's what ultimately got him fired because it destroyed the offensive line and never could recover, thus affecting the wide receiver play, thus affecting the quarterback play, thus affecting the wide receiver play, thus affecting the running back play. And then you basically just got a defense with a struggling offense, all because you made one bad decision that affected the offensive line for several years. It's a stupid decision, and I fully admit that. Never thought you'd hear that, right? Casey, I did see that Tony Fair made the elephant comment. Nice to see that the new recruits coming in, the transfers, all of them already get into the spirit of the rivalry. Doesn't it feel good? It really does. We should be in talks for being DBU in the SEC. We are, honestly. I mean, think about it. You've got a lot of players there. Now you're going to be sending probably Roger McCreary next year, Javaris Davis, Carlton Davis. You've got Noah Iguanagani there. Brandon King's been there. I mean, we have been putting the one thing that people will never take away from Gus Malzahn is he put defensive backs in the NFL, which is ironic when you really think about it. Beating Bama would be a statement. Yes, it would be. Absolutely, it would be. Lee loves that Tony Fair lighting a fire and bringing some attitude, but everyone talks big in July. Better bring it in November. Yeah, but it makes for good fodder during a slow news cycle, and I like it. I do. I think it's just words, and like you said, it kind of only is good as what happens on the field. But I'm not mad at it. I'll take it. I will take it. Does Harsin pull out the Statue of Liberty against Penn State? I'd prefer he saved it. But if you don't think a Statue of Liberty is not coming, just wait. We have like 7 NFL caliber DBs: Roger, Drayshun, Pritchett, Simpson, Smoke. Am I going to be bold and say Kaufman? I'll agree with you. I'm not saying, I think they all can be, but I will definitely not disagree with you on Roger McCreary and Smoke Monday. I think Pritchett and Simpson more so, have the potential. I'm going to hold the phone on Drayshun Miller right now, just for a minute. I'm not saying he's not going to be, but I haven't seen him play yet. I just kind of want to see what happens. You're expecting 3 wide receiver transfers after the season. Depends on how much we sling that ball around. If we do, I think he will. Jamil Dean, that was another one. Thank you, Lee. Thank you for reminding me of that. How did I forget Jamil? Jamil. Justin, good to see you, my man. They're in Huntsville right now. All of Alabama's represented tonight. My favorite passing play is the wheel route. I hope Harsin has that in his arsenal. Of course he does. So he runs a multiple style offense. So he's got everything if he's multiple, right? That's what I look at it. Where do you have us picked in the West? Give you an order. Ooh, that's a good question. and one that I've tried to wrestle with myself. Well, I mean, I know it seems cliche, but let's just start at the top. As of this moment, we can probably expect Alabama to be up there. So I'll just go ahead and put them at number one. The question is has LSU returned? And is Texas A&M going to be really that good? I really think it could be a battle for two between Auburn, Texas A&M, and LSU. Maybe Lane's gonna turn this thing around. Arguably, they do have the most experienced quarterback in Matt Carroll, so you might even throw them into the mix there. I just don't see it. Mississippi State, we clearly saw the hype train end very quickly for the air raid with Mike Leach there. I love having him in the SEC. Don't get me wrong, but kind of over with. I mean, it just didn't go well. Justin, you can call in, my man. The link is in the top of the chat window right there. I'll try to put it in a second, but we're kind of getting close to our end time here. So if let me answer your question. Alabama, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna say LSU / Texas A&M and then Auburn. And then probably Ole Miss. Probably Arkansas, Mississippi State. If that's all of them, if I've forgotten somebody, please. That's how I'd see it. And then on the other side, I'd probably say Georgia, Florida. Who cares after that point? Let's see. Kind of feel bad for Shed Jackson, nephew of the Auburn legend, highly touted prospect, just can't stand that. And Darius, he also has had problems dropping the ball. I've been a huge Shed fan, and I have been waiting for him to just rise to the occasion. And even when he has been healthy, he struggled to hold on to the ball. I think he knows he's got that talent, wants to utilize it going down the field, but you got to catch it before you move. Barrett Salih doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe he does. I don't know. I think Auburn's going to be third, though. So you have us fourth. That's probably 8 wins. Let me correct myself. I think Auburn's going to finish third, but I can't decide if it's going to be Texas A&M or LSU at number 2, and then that other one would flip behind us. So Ole Miss would be fifth in that scenario. So, but I think the floor for Auburn is 8 wins. I think the ceiling is 9 at this point. Just me. Don't shoot the messenger. Just giving you my opinion. All right. Keep your questions and comments coming. We're rounding out our show here because I do want to send you guys off to War Report if you do enjoy them. So you can get some last minute comments and questions in real quick. Couple of reminders, a lot of them actually. So just bear with me for just a second. As always, check the description out for links on a way that you can help support us here on the network, whether it be the YouTube channel, the podcast network, all that stuff. At the very top of the chat window, you will see a survey link. Please, 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 after this is over with, take 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, and fill that out. There will be some questions. Even if you're not a podcast listener, that'll be on there, but you can still help us with some of your answers there. We are a quarter of the way to the number of responses we want to get. Help us get there by doing that tonight. All it takes is 5 minutes. There is 20 something of you watching live at this moment. If all of you did it, we'd be really close to a third of the way there, I think, of our responses that we're looking for this year. But if you can do that, be a huge help. Also, we do now have YouTube channel supporters. Felix is one of those. He was on here. You can get little emojis and little symbols next to your name for how long you are supported. All it takes is 99 cents. It is not replacing the Booster Club. That is still there. $1 a month is the same base level there. You get more perks there. All the inside information goes there. This is just something for those of you that don't want to go to another site, that want to support us on a somewhat regular basis. That option is there for you. 99 cents. It gets you the emojis. It gets you the little symbols next to your name. And we've promised to make you guys a priority in terms of answering questions and comments and all that kind of stuff. I think that's it. Oh, and I think right now we're going to plan to do a live stream later tomorrow night, maybe like 9 o'clock-ish on SEC Media Days. So make sure you stay tuned for that if you're not. I think that's all I've got in terms of announcements. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Statue of Milo's. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's a little bit of a dad joke, but hey, it's not bad. Okay, we already addressed that one. Flores 8 wins. Let the hype begin. Yeah, he did have some drop problems. I think this is his last chance. If he falls this season, the shed train is done. I wouldn't go that far. I think he can still figure it out, but I love me some Shed Jackson. I want to see him succeed so bad. Corey, I do appreciate you doing the survey, my friend. That's a huge help. Very much appreciated. He could grad transfer. That's true. It's true. That's true. John, are you now a YouTube member too? My friend, you are the man. I appreciate you for being a part of the Booster Club, but also that huge shout out to you, my man. You're awesome. Appreciate you so much. Let's see. When are you going to have Uncle Lou on the show? That would be entertaining and watching. You know, actually, if you're Uncle Lou, are you talking about the guy who impersonates Lou Holtz on the Rick and Bubba show? I actually do have a connection to him, believe it or not. And I'm going to have him on Auburn Roots to tell his Auburn story at one point. Timing hasn't worked out just yet, but coming very soon, probably. Let's see. I think that's I've gotten most of your questions in. We got a couple minutes here. You can rapid fire them here at the minute, but I hope you guys are excited for SEC Media Days. Obviously there's going to be a lot of burning questions that coach has got to answer tomorrow. We'll see what happens. I think Coach Harsin is going to be a no nonsense guy up there, and you'll probably get no funny business from him in terms of quippage and storylines and all that kind of stuff. But hey, there you go. Supposed to be more actual commits Friday. Will you have a show then? That's a good question. Let me reserve that by saying maybe. I don't want to commit to that just yet, but I will try. If we have a bunch of commits, a slew of them, from Big Cat Weekend, I will do my best to get on there for you all. John, thank you for doing the survey, my friend. Appreciate it. Same position as Paul Tyson, legacies at their respected schools, but just can't get it going. Well, and like you said, part of the problem is the injuries. So hopefully once that kind of gets figured out, the rest will fall into place. And you never know what can happen there. But yeah. So I hope, like I said, maybe we'll do a live show for that, but definitely tune in tomorrow night, barring unforeseen circumstances. We're going to get together. We'll talk about SEC Media Days, and maybe we'll have some preview stuff for recruiting things. I don't know. Whenever we get together, even though there may be a main topic, talk about anything and everything Auburn, because this is the place. There are a ton of Auburn podcasts out there. There are a ton of Auburn YouTube channels, and they're all great. Love them all. But this is the place where anything and everything goes, because if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. And I am very appreciative to each and every one of you that spend even 1 second of your time here, even 1 cent of your own money to help support this. It means the world to me, and it means the world to our contributors on the podcast network, that you guys enjoy what we do and want to be here and be a part of this. So thank you guys so much. If you go over to War Report, tell them we said hello and War Eagle, and I hope to see you. If not this tomorrow night, next Wednesday, we'll be live again with another call-in show, and we'll talk to you then. Until then, my friends,